Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Monday evening, May 26, 2025. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you all like this video. I'd really appreciate it if you all get this video up to 100 likes. If you don't know by now, that's how the YouTube algorithm works. We all like the video and then the YouTube algorithm pushes the video out to more persons who are in the path of these tropical systems so that we can keep everyone safe, especially during the peak months of Atlantic hurricane season. That's August through to October. Share this video with your friends, your co-workers, your relatives, and even your church brethren, and subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Please ensure that you all utilize the progress bar that's located at the bottom of the video, as well as the timestamps that are located not only in the comment section but the video description, so that you can skip to the points in the video that you want to see the most in order to save time, because we know that the videos over here with the Jamaica can be very long. You can leave a comment down below letting me know what the dice be like in your area recently. Also feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Alright, so we need to highlight this post that was made here on our Twitter page this evening, basically showing the fact that the Saharan dust is really coming. We see on these maps a vigorous plume as represented by these greens, yellows, oranges, pinks, even this dark brown shading, that the most of it should be expected as we head into Tuesday as well as Wednesday for sure. Jamaica is definitely going to be in for it. It states here, unfortunately, a significant amount of Saharan dust is expected to enter Jamaica's atmosphere from Tuesday, May 27 to Wednesday, May 28, 2025. Persons with asthma and other respiratory illnesses should take the necessary precautions to protect their health. And we even see that although it's going to be tapering off a bit by Thursday, we're going to be on the northern edge of it, while most of it is pushing off to the west. We even see that more is coming. We can take a look at the main development region and see that there's even more coming and pushing towards the Caribbean by Saturday. It's going to be very interesting to see how all of this evolves either way. Please ensure that you mask up, get those allergy medications ready, because we know how the Saharan dust is and how it can trigger our illnesses. Taking a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening, we can see a ridge of high pressure right here that we know is responsible for sending all of the easterly trade winds, not to mention all of the Saharan dust from Africa across the main development region into the Caribbean. We can see that we still have the tropical wave affecting portion of northern and South America, another tropical wave right here to the northeast of South America, and we see the numerous frontal systems still affecting portions of the United States. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before we lost sunlight, we can make out the frontal systems right here still affecting portion of the US with overcast skies, if not shower and thunderstorm activity. We can make out the tropical waves still lashing portions of northern and South America. We can also make out some low level clouds right here pushing from east to west. Definitely could be associated with some of that moisture from the tropical wave. We can also see the upper level cirrus clouds right here streaking off from from southwest to northeast. And we can see the other tropical wave right here to the northeast of South America. We can even make out the low to mid-level flow of the clouds being steered from east-west, all courtesy of the ridge of high pressure to the north. We'll be talking more about the rest of the Caribbean weather later on. Let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Monday, May 26, 2025. It was stated that rainfall could have been in the forecast of parts of northern and eastern Jamaica in the early morning hours of Monday, and some northwestern parishes during Monday afternoon. And in the early morning hours, we definitely saw the rainfall on the Doppler radar, but it was more so to the way north of us, way to the east of us. Nothing came on shore at all, so I guess that prediction didn't come to fruition. Either way, we know that we predicted some rainfall for northwestern parishes, and we know northwestern parishes would have included sections of Trelawney, St. James, Hanover, maybe even sections of Westmoreland. And what ended up happening? At around 2:55 p.m., the visible satellite image was posted not only here on our Twitter page with the Jamaica, but it was also posted on our Instagram page with the Jamaica, on our TikTok page with the Jamaica, and on our Facebook page with the Jamaica 876. So if you have one of those social media platforms, please ensure that you follow us there as we make posts throughout the day that you can't afford to miss. So look at the isolated thundershower activity that was affecting portions of Trelawney, section of St. James, Hanover, and Westmoreland at that time, 2:55, and then the upper level wind shear was blowing those cloud tops off towards the southeast. Definitely bring more overcast skies to section of southern Jamaica, but most of the thunderstorm activity was across the northwest at that time. Then as the afternoon progressed, we saw some clouds building across section of northern St. Catherine, southern St. Mary, northern St. Andrew, northern Clarendon. Definitely gotten on some of that as well. A lot of clouds being shared out towards the southeast. A lot of activity even as we're losing the sunlight, still affecting portions of the western end of the island. And the infrared close-up satellite imagery confirms all of that. Anywhere we see sparkling white dots, they represent some amount of lightning strikes, if not lightning flashes. Now we see that especially across inland areas of some central parishes, as well as sections of Hanover, Westmoreland, and sections of St. Elizabeth. But sure, they definitely got a lashing over there in the west during the afternoon. And we saw those high cloud tops, those cumulonimbus clouds, being shared out towards the southeast by that upper level wind shear, like what we stated would have happened for sure. But clearly, it wasn't just on northwestern parishes kind of thing. It was definitely more so inland areas of some central parishes and western parishes for sure. And the live camera here from See Jamaica's YouTube channel showing the Bagwalk Gorge at around 12:55 p.m. show that we're definitely getting in on some sunny, if not some windy conditions at the time. Definitely dry for the most part, people in their vehicles going about their business. And I'd like for you to keep in mind that if you'd like to see more live streams like this, just visit See Jamaica on YouTube. They have these live streams for your viewing pleasure, and they're planning on increasing the amount of cameras that they have in and around the island. So subscribe today to this YouTube channel so that you don't miss out. Taking a look at the total accumulated precipitation for the past 24 hours from the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology website, this map isn't 100% accurate because we see some purples across the far eastern end, and we know that we didn't get in on any form of rainfall across the east today, but we definitely had that rainfall across inland areas of some central parishes as well as sections of some western parishes for sure. And we have some confirmation from some of our subscribers. We have Randall Green posting 3 hours ago stating, "Good evening, Weather Jamaica. We get some very hard rain in Brownstown, St. Anne today, and wind. But it stopped raining here in Brownstown now, and the sky is partly cloudy." We have a comment here on our Instagram page from Lati10 stating, "Hot, getting overcast though, above Rock St. Catherine. At Diva 114 stating overcast and cool, Portmore." Even on our Facebook page, we had the comments coming in. We have Verona Burke stating, "Sunny and windy in Outages." Latoya Taylor, sunny, well, sun, hot, bad. And that confirms what was taking place in some of our followers' area. Let us reload the very latest still image from the Weather Nerds website. Let us see what's happening right now. The latest still image is showing 0045 UTC, which is actually 7:45 p.m. So this just came out 16 minutes ago, considering that it's 8:01 p.m. right now. And we can clearly see that there's not much of anything left. Just some milky white cirrus clouds right here across the southwest, some clouds right here to the west. Maybe the western end of Westmoreland and Hanover. Maybe some isolated showers within some of that. Remember when the sun was going down, we saw some leftover clouds. That's what the latest Cuban Doppler radar imagery is showing, the latest Guantanamo Bay US Navy Doppler radar imagery is showing, and the latest Cayman radar is showing. The latest Cuban Doppler radar just came out at around 8:50 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Is actually 7:50 p.m. Jamaica time. So this just came out 11 minutes ago, considering that it's 8:01 right now, and we can see just some isolated showers in the blues and greens that represent some light to slight moderate rainfall, and as we can see here from the key on the right, just to the west of us. Some of you might be saying, what is all of this that we see across the north? The greens, yellows, oranges, rest, all of that is ground clutter. That's just a glitch in the Cuban Doppler radar. Regarding the Guantanamo Bay Cuban Naval Radar, don't see much of anything across the western peninsula of Haiti right now. But if you look closely, we can make out some isolated shores across portions of southeastern Cuba. Don't see much of anything across Portland at this time. Regarding the Cayman Radar, we can make out some isolated shores here and there across sections of Cuba. Don't see anything across the Cayman Islands. Don't see anything across western Jamaica at this time either. Let us see what's happening now. According to the live camera here, showing halfway tree in St. Andrew at around 8:02 p.m. right now. We can definitely see people in their vehicles going about their business, people walking about, going about their business. Nothing significant taking place right now. Should definitely be a fair evening for sure. Taking a look at the temperatures right now, clearly we have 27 degrees Celsius in both Montego Bay and Kingston, and by about 4 a.m. on Tuesday, temperature should dip down to about 25 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 23 degrees Celsius in Kingston. Taking a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow, this map from the GFS is valid for AT&Z on Tuesday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Tuesday. You can see Jamaica right here embedded in some slight yellows that represent at least up to 1 degree Celsius above average temperatures. And we know the average temperature for the month of May across Jamaica is around 89 degrees Fahrenheit. When that's converted to degrees Celsius that we use here in Jamaica, that's around 31.6 degrees Celsius. So we should be receiving anywhere from 31.6 to 32.6 degrees Celsius at most for Jamaica's temperature on Tuesday. And unfortunately, we have a few maintenance outage advisories here from my JPS Online Twitter page that we have to highlight. I know that we have to highlight these because know that when we have power outages somewhere across the island, it can definitely make the heat feel even worse because we don't have our fan or our AC to cool us down. So if you live or work in these areas, or if you have friends or relatives who live or work in these areas, please let them know that a power outage is coming their way on Tuesday, May 27, 2025. We're referring to New Bowens in the parish of Clarendon from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., as well as Belfield to Dumfries in the parish of Trelawney from 9:30 a.m. to 4 p.m., and Jacksontown in the parish of Trelawney as well from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. And we have some tips right here to beat the heat as usual. Dress down, wear lightweight clothing and use sunscreen. Check on others including children, elderly people with medical conditions and pets. Be cool, stay indoors and make use of fans and air conditioners. Avoid alcohol and caffeine as they can make dehydration worse. Limit non-essential strenuous activity during the hottest part of the day. And I cannot stress enough the importance of staying hydrated throughout the day. Drink lots of water throughout the day, even if you're not thirsty, and put away those sugar drinks and drink water instead. Taking a look at the dry air map, you know that the dry air is represented by what we see here on the key on the bottom. That's the yellows, the oranges, the reds, and the whites. Within those reds, we see a lot of dry air across the eastern Atlantic, and we know that dry air is responsible for keeping the atmosphere stable, making it harder for it to rain these days, making it harder for us to get storms these days. And we see some yellows here and there across portion of the Caribbean, and some blues represent that moist air. That's what we want to see. We want the moist air that we get more rainfall to keep water in our pipes, especially like what we see here across the eastern Pacific and the intertropical convergence zone of the Atlantic. But regarding the actual Saharan dust forecast, let's start using this map more often. It's definitely showing the significant amount of Saharan dust that's coming. We see it as represented by the greens into the yellows, into the oranges, reds, pinks, if not purples. Am I getting the color right? Somebody tell me. Either way, we have the timestamp right here at the top. We see that May 26 into 27 to 28. A lot of it should be coming into the Jamaica area, especially passing to the south of us, as we can see here. And then as we head into the 29th day of May, that's Thursday, we should be on the northern edge of it. We see more of the greens right in here coming into us by that time, and then we see somewhat of a break before we start to get more plumes coming in from the main development region, coming in maybe over the weekend, if not next week. Taking a look at the wave forecast for tomorrow, we can see that we have the same light shades of blues to dark shades of blues extending from the Gulf into the Bahamas, representing from 0.5 meter wave height all the way up to 1.5 meter wave height, while the highest waves, as represented by the dark blues, purples, into the pinks, should be about anywhere from 2 maybe up to 3 meter wave heights right here to the far south of Jamaica, to the north of Colombia. And that's because of the winds that are expected. High pressure ridge definitely sending all of those winds all the way from the Sahara Desert across the Caribbean into the Gulf. We see that easterly flow with the strongest winds in the bright greens and yellows that represents anywhere from 20 to 25 knots to the far south of Jamaica, so it makes sense that the highest waves are right down there. But regarding Jamaica's wave forecast for tomorrow, up to 1.1 meter wave height to the north of Portland, same thing to the north of St. Anne and Hanover, to the south of Westmoreland, same thing, to the south of Manchester, 1.3 meter wave height, to the south of St. Thomas, 1.4 meter wave height. And that's because of the winds that are expected. We clearly see that easterly flow across the island for sure, averaging anywhere from about, let's say, 15 knots, 19 knots here and there. Something similar on the north coast, up to 12 knots right here. And we see where the air is going to be piling up. Once again, across inland areas of some central and western parishes for sure. Western Jamaica can't catch a break. However, Westmoreland for sure going to be getting the lashing again. And if anything comes off of the sea from the east, maybe some isolated shores. But a lot of Saharan dust in the air, so could be dominating. I know the upper level winds definitely coming in from the northwest tomorrow. We're going to be seeing, if we get some convection, more of those clouds bringing overcast skies to the section of southern Jamaica once again. If we have most of the thunderstorms across section of central and western Jamaica tomorrow. And regarding the actual rainfall forecast maps now, this map from the Euro and this map from the GFS are both valid for 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's actually 3 p.m. Jamaica time. What do both maps show? We see the blues represent some isolated shores not only across the east, but even the central and western parishes, especially across the northern section of the island for sure. St. Anne, St. Mary section of Trelawney, St. James Hanover section of Westmoreland, northern St. Elizabeth, northern Manchester, northern Clarendon, northern St. Catherine section of Kingston, St. Andrew. The Euro, on the other hand, is showing something similar, especially across the north coast for sure. The GFS has a higher signal with the rainfall that's expected with these darker blues, the Euro on the lighter blue side. Either way, it's looking like it's going to be more of that afternoon rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes for sure. And even the total accumulated precipitation forecast maps are in consensus that it's going to be raining somewhere in Jamaica within the next 24 hours, going up to 0. maybe 3 of an inch of rainfall across the eastern, central, and western end according to the latest Euro. The GFS going all the way up to 0.5, 2 of an inch of rainfall, especially across the cockpit country right there. And whatever happens, we'll definitely take it because we're in the month of May. And in Kingston, whose bar graph is shown right here at the top, we usually receive close to 140 millimeters of rainfall for the month of May. In Montego Bay, whose bar graph is being shown right here at the bottom, we usually receive close to 6 inches of rainfall for the month of May. And I would like for you to keep in mind that if you'd like to find out what your specific parish usually receives in terms of rainfall for the month of May or for the entire year, you can visit weatherandclimate.com, and that website to show that information. And you can use this nice graphic right here that converts rainfall from inches to millimeters. You know that 1 inch of rainfall is about the same as 25 millimeters of rainfall, so you can do the math yourself. Alright, so we're going to be looking at what the next 7 days have in store for us, according to the latest Euro and GFS Supercomputer model runs that came out today. So keep your eyes focused on the timestamp right here at the top, and keep your eyes focused on Jamaica right here as we go to the next 168 hours. That's the next 7 days. We're looking for all of this that we see on the key on the right. That's the yellows, the oranges, the reds, and the greens. That represents inches of rainfall. So let's see what's going to be taking place. And since we just looked at Tuesday, we're going to be starting with 12Z on Wednesday, which is actually 7 a.m. Don't see much of anything across Jamaica, but we're seeing that broad airflow pressure is trying to get itself organized to the south of Mexico. Lots of shower and thunderstorm activity over there. As a matter of fact, let's go over there and look at the deep convection. This is the most convection I've seen in the northern hemisphere across the waters since the, let's say, the year began in general. Across the waters for sure, it's definitely getting its act together. Lots of shower and thunderstorm activity to the south of Mexico, trying to get its act together and become tropical storm Alvin. Pretty sure the Hurricane Center is still watching it. Possibly it still has a high chance of development if I'm not mistaken. Let's see what they're saying. Of course, nothing is being shown on the 7-day graphical tropical weather look off the Atlantic, but for the Pacific, pretty sure they've upped it. It was 90 yesterday. Okay, still a 90 right here. Still expected to become better organized, and a possible tropical storm could form. They've stated right here it's a tropical depression that's expected to form by the middle portion of the week, giving it an 80% chance of cyclone formation within the next 2 days and a 90% chance of cyclone formation within the next 7 days. Very interesting. So Alvin is definitely going to be happening. Clearly it's going to be pushing to the west out to sea. Alright, so let's go back to what's expected. So as stated, not really much of anything expected across Jamaica. Wednesday, maybe some isolated showers across the eastern, central, and western end, but nothing significant at all. Thursday morning, remember, Wednesday, a lot of Saharan there, so we don't expect a lot of rainfall. We see some isolated showers to the north of us. Thursday afternoon looks like central and eastern parishes. Let's see what the GFS is showing. Wednesday morning, nothing. Wednesday afternoon, maybe some isolated showers across central and western parishes. Thursday morning, nothing. Thursday afternoon, looks like some isolated showers across northern and western parishes. So we have some contrast, we have some differences here and there. Heading into Friday morning, not really much of anything being shown here. Then on Friday afternoon, maybe some isolated showers across section of eastern, central, and western Jamaica. What does the GFS show? Friday morning, rainfall to the northwest, rainfall to the northeast. Friday afternoon, look at that, seeing some rainfall across eastern, northern, western Jamaica, and we're also seeing an increase in moisture to the south of Hispaniola. Don't see that yet on the Euro, but as we head some more into Saturday for sure, look at how the moisture just starts to pop up out of nowhere on the Euro, especially to the south of Hispaniola, pushing into section of eastern Jamaica on Saturday morning. Then on Saturday afternoon, look at that, rainfall has engulfed the entire island. What does the GFS show? Saturday morning, lots of rainfall affecting the waters to the south of Hispaniola, to the south of Jamaica. Then on Saturday afternoon, look at that, some other rainfall coming into Jamaica. What does Sunday morning show? Sunday morning, still seeing that rainfall in and around the island. Sunday afternoon, look at that rainfall, even more so across eastern, central, and western parishes. And we're stopping it right here at the end of the 168 hours. So this is valid from Monday, June 2. And we see a lot of rainfall, especially to the north and west of us, to the southwest of us, in and around the island for sure. What does the GFS show? Sunday morning, a lot of rainfall in the greens in and around us. Sunday afternoon, even some yellows in there represent even more rainfall, maybe up to 6 inches of rainfall. It's gonna be a definite flash flood event as we head into early June for sure. And I'll definitely be here to keep you posted. Look at this, the end of the 168 hours, looking very festive across Jamaica, especially to our west at that time. So it's looking like it's going to be more of a Saturday, Sunday, heavy rain kind of mess, spilling into Monday as well. Very interesting weekend is coming up for sure. And even the total accumulated precipitation forecast maps, especially the one from the GFS, are adamant that it's going to be raining over the next 7 days, especially across the Greater Antilles. We're talking about Cuba, Cayman Islands, Jamaica, Haiti, Dominican Republic. Anywhere we see these dark reds into purples into the pinks, that represents what we see here on the key on the right. That's anywhere from 2 all the way up to 5 inches of rainfall. We also see that across section of northern South America. We're talking about Guyana, Suriname, French Guyana, Trinidad and Tobago, Venezuela, Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica, sections of Nicaragua. We also see some of that across sections of southern Guatemala too. But the thing is, regarding the consensus on the euro is only showing that across sections of Central America and northern South America, not necessarily yet on the Caribbean side, the Greater Antilles area. We see an increase in moisture, but nothing as significant as to what the GFS is showing. It's going to be very interesting to see exactly what plays out. Even the total accumulated precipitation forecast maps over the next 7 days, the one from the euro definitely a bit more reserved. The one from the GFS definitely going bonkers. Look at all of the oranges into the reds, even into the purples. That represents anywhere from 50 all the way to maybe 150, maybe 175 millimeters of rainfall, especially across the far eastern end and the far western end. Look at that rainfall total to the far west of us. 219 millimeters of rainfall is ridiculous if it actually takes place. But for now, we don't have the agreement on both models. Yes, there's going to be an increase in rainfall because this 82 millimeters that we see across the eastern end on the euro wasn't there yesterday, so it's definitely increasing. It's going to be very interesting to see exactly what plays out as we head into early June for sure, and I'll definitely be here to keep you posted with what occurs. Taking a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before we lost sunlight. As stated, we have some low to mid-level clouds pushing through the eastern to the central Caribbean. Lots of Saharan dust within there. If we take a look, we see northern South America with their fair share of thunderstorm activity as usual. Taking a look at the Doppler radar imagery of the northeastern Caribbean in and around Puerto Rico. Right now, don't really see much of anything across central western Puerto Rico, but eastern Puerto Rico has some isolated shores. Or eastern Dominican Republic as well. Don't see much of anything across the Leeward Islands. But if we load these Doppler radar images from earlier today, we can see that sections of western and northwestern Puerto Rico definitely gotten on some isolated shores. The Barbados radar not showing much of anything across Barbados, but we do see some isolated shores passing to the south of there, pushing towards the Grenadines and Grenada. Taking a look at the wider view of Doppler radar images, don't see much of anything across let's say the Yucatan, but we do see some isolated shores across sections of Florida, central Cuba earlier, sections of Colombia. We also see some of that across sections of northern Venezuela, Guyana, Suriname, getting in on some of that as well. And regarding where the rainfall is expected within the next 24 hours, clearly the most rainfall should be across pushing on northern South America, Guyana, Suriname, French Guyana, Venezuela, Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica, section of Nicaragua, eastern Honduras. Some isolated shores definitely in the forecast for sections of Florida, Cuba, Jamaica, Haiti, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico for sure, as well as sections of the Windward Islands. We're talking about St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada, Trinidad and Tobago as well. And we can clearly see that both the Euro and the GFS models are in agreement with that forecast. I know that when they're in agreement like this, the chances are higher for it to actually take place. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.